You ever feel like all of a sudden people ignore you, or you become invisible? You're just not noticed like you used to be. Yeah, that can happen to you, especially after you're 60 or 70 in my case. And that throws you for a loop. And all of a sudden you start feeling like, the world is out to get you, right? You ever feel that way? And you just don't feel good anymore, don't want to go out, and all of a sudden it almost becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because you just assume people ignore you. Well, I'll tell you, there are many things you can do to make people take notice of you, but I think that's more personal. It's a personal thing. So I just want to share what worked for me of things to avoid. Yeah. Here are just 5 things that I've learned to avoid or to not do to make me unlikable or invisible or avoided by others. All right, let's talk about the first one. All right, the first one, you know what it is? It's about oversharing your medical stuff. Now, yeah, especially when you hit that big 60 mark or older, you start developing aches and pains, and you find as the years go on, right? Doesn't it seem like there's a new thing every day, and sometimes every day is the same every day, and that can be hard. I know, because you know what? I'm the poster child of living pain. Seriously, I got some bad arthritis, knees, blah blah blah. Always something going on. And it feels good to share. I don't know. It makes me feel good. To say, oh, my aching back, or somebody starts talking about that. Oh, my God. I could go on forever. But you know what? People will be polite the first time. But if that's how you start your phone conversations with all your friends, or you meet up with a stranger, or, in a public place or whatever, it's not good. That's how you get ignored. That's how you become dismissed, because they just automatically assume you're like one of those old people in pain. Listen, just because we are, you really want to avoid that, all right? Or at least initially, but don't avoid oversharing of your medical stuff. Okay, you know what number 2 is? Number 2 is being stubborn about outdated stuff. And what I mean by that, hey, look, we've been through a lot. If you're 50, 60 and up, we've been through a lot. We've been through the stuff of old school, and how regular arithmetic really works, not the new math, right? Or, appliances and things, just in general. And avoiding even just talking about new ideas or new little inventions or the newest update on your iPhone, which I hate. People don't really want to deal with that. I mean, it's nice to throw in a little story here and there of like how it was with you back then. But if you're completely averse to things, new ideas or new thoughts or new ways of doing things, you will become invisible if you don't at least listen, like really listen and take in. And even if you just say, yeah, I hear what you're saying. But if you have that wall and you build that wall, people just don't have time for that. They don't. I mean, look here on YouTube. You ever look up a video on how to fix something? If you don't give somebody the answer in the first 30 seconds, they're like, next. And it's kind of like that too when you're, socializing, being in the world, or just being a human and interacting with others. Is you got to take down that barrier a little bit, all right? I am not a fan of new tech. I tolerate it. I actually, I may download a new app and struggle, and I'll bitch and moan and complain, which, by the way, I do a lot. But that's not the first thing in my mind. Or if somebody tells me about something new, I'm like, really? And I try to be more curious than, whoa, not me, I'm not into that. Not me, I'm into that. Well, you know what? The more I'm not into that, or, what is there left? Okay? We have to connect with others who are a little bit different, younger, And that's one way, I think, is putting down that shield and try active listening. Number 3 is it's about appearance, and not just appearance, but like your clothes. You don't have to dress like, Fifth Avenue rock star. But, when you wear ill-fitting clothes, things that are too big or too tight, or, something that you had for the past 20 or 30 years, it just don't look right anymore. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I mean, I'm kind of like a big culprit of that, because there's some things that, I just love, and they remind me of some things in the past. And you know how I see me? I see me in that like I saw me 20 years ago. Until somebody took a picture. And then I'm like, what was I thinking? Seriously, you don't need a lot of clothes. In fact, I kind of wear the same ones every day. I do. It's kind of weird. I have like my own uniform, but I make sure that it fits. Make sure it fits, it looks right, it's appropriate for me, appropriate for my age. And you know what happens? You don't get discounted as like one of those old crazy people, or, people do make judgments like that. Now, whether or not that's wrong or right, I'm not even addressing that. It's not that. It's all about just trying to be you and to be seen and heard. Oh, part B of that is I have a friend, and I go with him to his doctor's appointments, just as an extra ear. And every time he goes, he wears a long white dress shirt. I call real pants, not jeans or anything belted. And sometimes he wears his sport coat. And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm going to that. And he goes, no. He says, I want to dress to be respected. And he doesn't want to be ignored or dismissed as some like old man. I mean, just because he is an old man. But, he's right. It means a lot. It means a lot. They take attention. They don't dismiss his questions. And he's taken a little bit more seriously. Again, dress does make the man or the woman. But it's something to consider. And to consider your dress in your situation. Whether it be a party, going to see a doctor, right? That's a big one, right? Or stuff like that. You may want to just take a little care and attention into your grooming. We didn't even talk about that. That's next. Okay, let's do number 4, which is grooming. And before I get into that, you have to see where I am. I'm walking like the secret path around the Golden Pond. Isn't it beautiful? It's ethereal. Anyhow, number 4 kind of goes with, dressing appropriately, or, at least not having outdated or ill-fitting clothes, is personal grooming and hygiene. I'm going to just throw that all in together. Now, personal grooming, look, again, I get it. I'd rather go out, like as a woman, no makeup and bedhead, and hey, I'm in a rush, and like, who's going to see me anyhow? You know who sees you? You. And I have found that no one dismisses me. I'm serious. If anything, people come up to me and like try to start conversations. And I'm proud of that. That means I'm approachable. My shield is down. But, especially when I'm groomed properly, I have my lipstick on, fill in my eyebrows, which, by the way, is important. It frames your face. Have my hair combed and my clothes fit right. I rarely get dismissed. Now, same with men. Men, let me tell you something. Okay, grooming is really big. Especially with older men. As a matter of fact, some of us women have the same problem with whiskers. With women, these whiskers, I don't know where the hell they come from. Oh my God, one day I'm driving and there's one in my chin and I'm like, I almost had an accident. I'm like, where did that come from? But with men, you got these ruly eyebrows. Really? I mean, do you want to look like Einstein? People ignore people like that. I'm telling you, it's cruel. We're in a cruel world. I get it. But if you don't want to be dismissed and you don't want people to ignore you, trim those eyebrows. And while you're at it, do the ears too, okay? No Wolfman Jack. Okay, maybe big back in the day. Same also with the beards. If you're a bearded person, great. No problem. Keep it trimmed. Make it look nice. Same with the mustaches. Okay, just don't go out there and like, okay, I don't care what anyone thinks. Really? And that's what will happen. No one will care. And we want them to care. I know I want you to care. I don't want you to be dismissed. Listen, if you're like me and you've been on this earth for all these years, you've got some great information and stories and things and experiences to share. Don't dismiss them. The last one. It's a good one. But before I show you that, look at this. My own lily pond. Is that too cool? How beautiful is that? Look at this on the other side. It's gorgeous. Well, let me be careful on this dock because there are some holes. Hey, okay, listen. So the last one kind of encompasses all the other ones, but it's something that's really important. And you know what that is? Is like, just don't make assumptions about people, and don't just assume you're going to be discounted, or assume they're not going to listen to you, or assume that they're going to think something else about you, or any of that stuff. You gotta drop that, because when you have that chip on your shoulder, I think people you just attract it more. Honestly, the more you assume that people don't like you, don't want to be around you, and all, and guess what? You kind of like, it goes off in a scent, like the pheromones and stuff like that. So don't assume that. I do have a story about that. I was on a cruise recently, and we had these wonderful women. I sat at a table with strangers, which I love because I can have my conversations or new conversations with people and all. And this was this one older woman, and every night was an issue. Every night was an issue with the waiter. You know, and the second night, I'll never forget this. He was putting bread on the plates. I don't know, I guess he got caught in a conversation, and he didn't put a little piece of bread on her plate, and she freaked. We're all looking like, oh, please take mine, really? Hey, listen, I go keto, you have my bread. No, I can't believe it. She actually said he did that on purpose. I'm like, did I just hear that? I mean, it's like I was listening to a 16-year-old girl. All right, not an 80-year-old. Is that weird, right? Some things never change. But, you know, you got to stop that stuff. If you want all the other things to work, you just have to stop assuming that people think the worst, so they do things out on purpose. Here's another example. A good friend, and I'll never forget this. We're actually, sitting at a table for dinner, and he says something to the waiter. And the waiter walked away and did bring back what he had asked for. And he got all upset. And I just realized, well, you didn't hear him. His hearing was so bad. Okay, and he refuses to get hearing aids. He refuses to get hearing aids because he thinks it's like only old people and people wear them, and people make assumptions. Well, it's terrible, because when you can't hear conversations and all, people just ignore you and they dismiss you because they figure you're not understanding. They don't know that you can hear. So sometimes if we have physical limitations, we're thinking that the world is out to get us, and they're not. So I want you to be cognizant of that. So if you have little issues like that, but just don't assume that the world is out to get you. Just don't assume that your experience has been that you've been dismissed as you get older, and you're just not going to accept that. You know why? Because you're a great person. You really are. You got a lot to give to this world, and we want to hear from you. So get rid of that chip on your shoulder, and I want you to live life to the fullest. Look at this view. Oh, I'm in heaven. Look at that. Huh. Looks like church, right? Please like and subscribe. It's free and it will help me